three.
Check one. Check one, check two, and we're live.
1, 2, 3.
You tell it.
Guapa, linda mujer, inteligente, hermosa, te gusta comer, andar en auto, tomar vino y diversión. ¿Por qué será que me gustas a mí?
Good morning. Good morning.
Dices que siendo otra almohada yo dejo mi olor.
La 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 la. Morning, everybody. Welcome to the program. How are you, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Keep the faith. Keep the faith in America. America's going in the right direction, whether we think so or not. See, it's always crazy. It's always in flux, right? It's always in flux. There's a interesting article today in the New York Post that I want to talk about. It's 10 ways culture, 10 ways American culture and the way of life is under assault. Right, that's the headline. Now, do you think that the American way of life is under assault, or is it just? It's just you're getting old, man, and the young people come in and change everything because fuck you. You're not letting the kids in. You're telling them to do it a certain way. This is how life is supposed to be, and if you don't do it, then there's something wrong with you. And what do? What do young people do in those situations? They tear it down. Right? So we'll look at that idea. As uncomfortable as it might be, there's a lot of very angry, disgruntled young people out there breaking and burning and torching things. And there's also reasonably minded people engaged in political action. For example, on January 6th, or even I'll even extend that to the George Floyd riots, rallies, whatever. But we're living in turbulent times. Violence is now becoming more acceptable again. We went through a period of, okay, you could do most things illegally, and the consequence wouldn't be so bad. But now the only exception to that was violence. Violence against innocent people, violence against each other, right? And it seems now that there's no longer a way to prevent this epic violence that we're seeing in the United States. Am I wrong to say that? Every clip that I look at, I see riots. I see young people, breaking police windows, breaking merchandise windows. What's behind it all? Merchandising windows, like stores. What's behind it? The shoplifting has become legal. Right? Is America, I guess the question I want to ask this morning, is America facing a cultural divide, or is it just business as usual? Is it just another page in American history? What was then is the same now. It's just we don't see it. That sort of thing, right? It's not any kind of distorted logic. It's just trying to get to get answers to some of these questions that we see. We see at the political level, at the highest level, we see two distinctive parties, each one trying to arrest, criminally implicate the other party criminal. And it looks like the persons in power seem to be doing the better job. So the idea is to seize power and then to criminally prosecute your adversary. That's so it's not just young people speaking up. It's maybe young people are responding to the ridiculousness of what they're seeing. We don't really know. Nobody knows anything. Right? I guess the most important thing is take care of yourself. I think humans are under siege as well from big corporations and such. Take care of yourself. Stay away from the pharmacology. Stay away from extremely stressful situations, work situations. I'll say this as well. We often think of people that are suffering badly, that are violent, that we should embrace them in some way, and try to I guess calm down their violence. And I think the best thing to do is just to stay away from it, to observe it at a distance and be peace and joy. Create that in your own life, and maybe you'll see some of this violence deteriorate because what you're doing over there. See, if you're joyous and happy over here, and they're all beating each other up and burning the place down over there, they might say, well, what's so wonderful about what you're doing over here? And they might step over and find out that you're not, that you're just living a different way. You're taking care of yourself and taking care of the environment and the people around you. So all that word salad said, thank you everybody for joining me. Vinny DiMartini is back. What's up, Vinny? Oh, Vinny as well. Mikkel Sly, oh man, I'm going to miss you in the chat, man. Mikkel Sly, wow, just one of the participants in this program, got sucked into the January 6th episode over there at the Capitol, and, wound up catching a couple of charges that resulted in some jail time. So he's not going to be with us for a while. And we wish Mikkel Sly, if that's his real name. We're all mythical, magical people here. But Mikkel, if anybody is watching that knows him, get him the message, man. We're rooting for him. We want to see him get through this thing. He'll come out at maybe times will be different. Who knows? But anyway, man, thank you all for joining me. Weevil Girl, Vinny DiMartini, Snake in the House, Dave Brown is here. Justin Falzone, what's up, Justin? Calito Vergante, how you doing? Thomas Slater, and Zutsu Cooter, Chris Milk, what's up, everybody? Who else did I miss? If I missed you, don't take it personal. Sean Kane. I'm trying to do a program here, and I'm reading out loud. This is my thumbnail today. There is a striking correlation between primitive behaviors and primitive creatures. Is the ape in the picture really a primitive creature, or is he a very advanced creature? Because he seems to resemble the ape on his to his right, the guy burning down the store. Right, the ape doesn't know how to light a book of matches and run through the streets of L.A. burning things. But the other ape, semi-human, does know how to do that. And he likes it, too. He likes when people take pictures of him. So there's this culture of smash and burn and break and crash. It's perfectly acceptable as long as you aim it at, I don't know, maybe anti-Trumpism or something. Right? Trump derangement syndrome in the age of Biden is phenomenon. I can't even remember anything comparable to Trump derangement syndrome. And if you're not familiar with that, that's what happens. The mention of Trump's name creates this fucking delusion in someone's head. And that he's just the worst person on earth. And how dare you side with this individual when all you're doing is pointing out some basic details perhaps like legal cases. Trump is under fire right now. Over 100 felony charges for a former president of the United States. And upon further investigation, there's not a single thing that you can point to that represents a real crime, right? As opposed to burning down a storefront or stealing from Walmart or stealing millions of dollars on Wall Street. Right? Go after those guys. What did Trump do? Trump he directed a rally on January 6th to address election fraud, possible election fraud in this country. How dare him? He's a criminal. But these are the real criminals. The criminals are out there in the street. They will violate you. It is advisable to protect yourself. You're not a doormat. If someone comes into your face screaming racial slurs at you or waving their hand or possibly approaching you with a weapon, you need to take action. You need to either don't be in those situations, but if you find yourself in one, you need to first get away from it. And if you can't, you need to stop the person doing it to you. At any means. So I have a website every morning at 9 a.m. Educational, philosophical. There's nothing newsworthy or scientific or anything else or politically driven in this program. I'm just trying to understand with all of you the educational and philosophical ramifications of the things we're seeing in the world today. Is it burning? Is it not burning? That's what we're trying to find out, right? So, and it's ongoing, right? Every morning at 9 a.m. you check in, and we find out. And your voice is valid. There you are. You're in the chat over there. Voice away, right? There's no ban here. Just don't be a dick, and you could say whatever you want. Right? Don't attack people. Don't accuse people of something. Tell people what is your position. What do you believe, right? Not that guy over there is a jerk off, but what do you believe inherently about your country? Right? We're going to go through a list of 10 things, and we'll try to figure it out together, because I don't know anything anymore. I really don't. What keeps me doing this is I'm amazed at the shift in consciousness in this country from one election to the next, right? Also remember that most people right now are sleeping. Not physically sleeping, not today sleeping, but overall, right? They're politically sleeping right now. And the next wave of insanity is coming, right? It's right before us, right? We're right before the storm. If you think this is the storm now, wait, yeah, you've got a presidential campaign with a guy being accused of 100 felonies, fighting off a 82-year-old senile president who is clearly and unequivocally implicated in foreign bribery schemes with his son, and racked up millions of dollars while he was vice president. These are facts. And because he did that and also blamed the Russians for stealing the election, now they're saying that the elections are 100% real. Democrats are saying that for the last 5 years, they've been saying that the Russians hacked the election. And now, all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, the elections are 100% real and integral. And Trump knew that. And because he knew that, he told the American people the opposite. It's the insanity of these conspiracy theories by leftist politicians and leftist prosecutors is profound, really. We had a widely accepted. These were a widely accepted theory in the mainstream media and the leftist political fucking group, was that Russia hacked the election. And now, so if Russia hacks an election, it makes the election hackable and not on the up and up, not 100%. Right? If that's what you believe, if you believe it, then then the elections are not fair because the Russians hacked them. On the other hand, you can believe that the Republicans hacked the election, or it was Hillary Clinton hacking the election and the DNC, right? But nonetheless, elections are definitely in question in the United States of America. But we have Donald Trump facing felony charges for stating the obvious, what he believed, and half the country believes, that the elections are not fair. Well, maybe more than half the country, I don't know, but a lot of people believe it. But I try not to take a side in this. I try to stay in the middle of the argument. It's often hard, but I try. I definitely try. So let's look at Fox News reporting on the ongoing riots in New York City. I bet you didn't know that. Overnight, people are still bashing and burning things. It's not past tense. It's happening right now.
Liberal mayors making excuses for the mayhem playing out in their cities. Thousands of teens rioting at a top tourist spot in New York City after an online influencer promised them free PlayStation 5s.
I could tell you where they are. They're just below 14th Street, Smoke Vape Shop. I've been in there. I've been inside of the store. They're at about 11th Street on Broadway. They're right in front of Strand Bookstore. It's arguably the Union Square Park. Union Square. 14th Street, Broadway.
Agitators shutting down traffic, smashing the windshields of cars.
Oh, it's like it is Planet of the Apes, right? Planet of the Apes all over.
After an online influencer promised them free.
Just look at the behavior, right? We're smashing a car. It's a taxi. Fuck that shit, man. Break that shit, man. We got immunity, right? Is this bad? Is this a bad thing? What's going on here? Well, let's ask the mayor. What's going on?
We're further looking into whether there's some even outside agitators. You don't
outside agitators? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? There's packs of kids breaking windows and smashing things, and you're looking for an outside agitator? You're looking for the conspiracy as to why the kids may be acting that way? Why don't you address the kids acting that way?
don't come to get free Game Boys and bring smoke bombs.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. The kids are a lot smarter than you think. They showed up for some free stuff, and then they started to break things, right?
And bring M80s and bring other disruptive items. And so we believe there were some outside influences that...
Okay, so I like Eric Adams here. I like this mayor in New York, but I think he's wrong here. I think he's turning a blind eye. He's saying, "Oh, they're only children. You can't prosecute children. You can't. They're just confused. They need parental guidance." Eric Adams, there are no parents at home anymore. They don't. That notion that someone's going to help these kids is gone.
May have attempted to aggravate this situation.
The scene in New York was eerily similar to the looting of a gas station in Chicago by a mob of teens. But
all black, all young black super predators. We're going back to the early 90s, right? Where you can be attacked and robbed and there's no consequence to it, right? And then when you grab one of them and make an example out of them, then you're the fucking bad guy.
But the city's Democratic Mayor Brandon Johnson also seemed willing to make excuses.
We're not talking about mob actions. I didn't say that.
We're not talking about mob actions. What is it? If it was a bunch of Italian guys out on the street, it would be the mob. But because it's black youth super predators, it's not a mob. It's the worst kind of mob there is. It's like a swarm of deadly bees. You get caught in that swarm. You literally have to fight your way out of it.
Large gatherings. These large gatherings, just hold on a second, y'all. I promise you, we have time to talk.
Don't change the subject, black mayor, who is obviously angry and can't handle the question. You're being asked about mobs in the street, and you're telling the American people that it's not a mob, that it's just disgruntled children. That's what he's going to tell you.
It's important that we speak of these dynamics in an appropriate way.
Oh, yeah.
This is not to obfuscate what is actually taking place. I mean, to refer to children as like baby Al Capones is not appropriate.
Baby Al Capones, they're mobsters. They are acting like a gang. What don't you see about the behavior? There's nothing else to see more than that. Right? Yeah, you could be sympathetic to it, but you still have to stop the problem.
And as crime rages out of control, people are forced to take matters into their own hands.
It's two fucking Habibs, right? They're getting robbed in their store, and they're trying to hold the guy down, beating him with a stick. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Let the animal up, and then he attacks you? No, you beat him until he stops moving.
Police say they are investigating a wild incident involving two 7-Eleven employees who thwarted a robbery, and one of whom beat the thief with a stick. And you saw that story here on Fox.
So violence begets violence, right? So also, if you think place yourself on this train for a second. I don't know if you've ever been on the train in New York City, but you get in there pretty close with people, and you've got 3 radicalized teen girls, and they decided to unleash their anger. Where are we? We're on the F train. We could see it. We're on the F train. They decided to unleash their anger at an Asian family, mother, father, and child. And it's just why? Why? But watch the behavior. Watch the behavior. It's all justified. Watch. This one's over there trying to intimidate the person that's filming it. So she's the cop, right? And when people do this, if they touch you, just punch them in the face. Right? Just punch them off of you. That's what you do in New York, right? Don't let people push into you. Just push back. And stand up. Get the edge on her. Stand up. Immediately get up on your feet. Don't be in a position. If you're ever in this position, stand up. Don't be in a position where someone can be above you and come down on you in a chair. Right? Stand up. Planet of the Apes. This is all acceptable now. This is acceptable behavior. You come to New York with your family and you're on the train, and three fucking women, girls, kids, whatever they are, can attack you, and there's no problem here. Nothing to see. See, this has always been going on, but it wasn't acceptable. Right now, there's some there has become something acceptable about this behavior. Right? I want to smash you. I want to smash you. I'm trying to attack the guy with the phone. Keep the phone. They're trying to attack the guy with the camera. Keep it going. Keep it going. Show their animalism. Somebody said, "Why are you so angry?" But that's going on right now in America. Snake Plissken says you have to get up and walk away. 3 or more walk away. Sometimes you can't. If the train is moving, the door's locked. Doors are locked. You're locked in there until at least the next stop. And I agree. You get up and you walk away. If somebody follows you, well, then you've got a stalker. But yeah, you always try to get away. You try to move away. But certainly standing up is one thing. Placing yourself in a hyper situation, higher up and unshakable. But whatever, right? Don't kill anybody if you don't have to. 10 ways American culture and way of life is under assault. Let's see if we agree with this stuff, right? 10 ways? Is American culture and way of life really under siege? See how the markets are doing. I'll find out, right? Because the fucking markets are under siege. So yeah, the Nasdaq's set to open down 106. That's a lot. Dow Jones Industrial Average set to open down 235, and S&P 500 down 29. So stocks under pressure this morning. Selling pressure. Something about Moody's downgrading the banks. Banks are in trouble, right? Banks are not as credit worthy as they used to be, and but don't worry about it. Don't worry about any of this, because we now live in a culture that is fine with just printing more and more money to equalize the wealth, right? Which makes a lot of sense, actually, when you think about it. If you print more money, that means there's more new money for newer people to get it, and old wealth tends to break down. It's kind of a warped logic. You say, well, how eventually are you going to pay off this debt? Well, the answer is you're not going to pay off the debt. You can keep issuing debt after debt after debt, and you're never going to collect it anyway. Or you're never going to pay off that debt anyway. The American government is. You're just going to use your military might to scare people. If the Japanese buy, $1 trillion in treasury bonds, and the Saudis buy $1 trillion in treasury bonds, and China as well, one day the United States will just say, if any of those countries decide to take their money off the table, the United States will vilify them and go to war with them, and nobody gets paid anything. Those are the deals that we make today. So and that's the truth. So I think we're open now. 9:20, 9:31, boom, we're open. Give it to me. Give it to me. I think we're jammed right now. We're jammed. There it is. NASDAQ is down 109. Dow Jones Industrial Average opens down 227. What's on the big board? Amazon down $1.50. Meta down 15 cents. Apple actually up 28 cents right now. That was the drag on the NASDAQ. And it seems like it's going up, or at least not going down anymore. NVIDIA down $5. It's a red day. Tesla down $3 a share. Bitcoin still hovering around 30,000, 29,474, up 400 this morning. Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Boeing, the almighty, mighty military industrial complex stocks all down at the moment. Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, wholly vaccine stocks mixed. And so selling pressure. Today, there's people saying, it's fucking the banks, or they're just saying, it's the summer and the rally's over, and all of these other nonsensical explanations as to why markets move. But right now we are down. We'd rather see it go up. But let's look at these 10 ways American culture and the way of life is under assault. Okay, so is free expression number one? Free expression in large swaths of American society, particularly the corporation, the media, the government, and political and public schools and universities, it is suddenly dangerous to speak freely. Is that true? Well, yeah, no doubt about it. Talk about vaccine, dangerous. Talk about racism, dangerous. Talk about those two. Sex, there's only two sexes. Can't say it. So it is really more so than any other time in my life, free speech is under siege. So politely object that whiteness does not account for all of the challenges of marginalized people, and you will become ostracized, reprimanded, and fired. Is that true? Can you stand up in a equity fucking stupid racist training session at your local municipality that you work at and stand up and say, this is ridiculous? I'm not a racist. You get fired for that. Suggest to a class that man-made climate change and the state remedies for it are still under debate. Well, they are. We don't know do we know that climate change in part is man-made? Yeah, probably. Humans are, the population of humans is growing exponentially, and we're clearly, killing off other species. Look at all the fucking species there were not even 50 or 100 years ago. Why aren't they there anymore? Because they don't have space to grow. Why? Because the humans have built roads and streets and bridges and knocked down all the trees. So I think that's an obvious one. Right? Are humans affecting the climate? Yeah, they are. But it is still under debate to some degree. We're not the only thing eroding the planet, but we're a big part of it. Express doubt that there are more than two biological sexes. Well, that's ridiculous, right? This argument that there are hybrid, sexes is stupid. There'll always be the positive and negative, the male, the female, the up, the down, right? And there are things in between that, but it doesn't qualify as something separate. It just doesn't and never will. Right? You can't. Anyway, but you're not allowed to talk about that. Or you get fucking thrown in. You get thrown in the can for that. You get thrown in. What about what about in 2020? State that COVID lockdowns would do more eventual damage than the virus. Right? If you said that in 2020, which now proves to be true, your career was over. Right? Did the lockdowns do more harm than good? Yes. In hindsight, they did. They served no real purpose other than to destabilize and or reconstruct an economy. Express doubt. There are too much. The government, in league with social media, censors the news. This is proven. We know this, right? We know this through the FBI files with Facebook, that FBI leaned on Facebook to censor, for the Hunter Biden laptop story, for example. We know this to be true, that government is involved in the censorship fucking move. You're not allowed to suggest that the elections are not, that the elections may have been rigged, when every politician on earth has admitted that is the case on the record. But you're not allowed to say it. You're not allowed to say it. The government commission, so free speech, hate speech. What is hate speech? It doesn't exist. It's just speech. You hate it because you don't like it. There's a big difference. You could hate the speech, but it's not hate speech. Right. Just keep your hands off of, get the Planet of the Apes to keep their hands off of the citizens, and we'll be fine. Weaponization of justice. Is that true? Number 2, weaponization of justice. Yeah, of course, right? They're definitely locking each other up. Never in U.S. history have the Department of Justice and sympathetic state and local prosecutors indicted a leading opposition candidate and likely nominee of one of the two major parties. Donald Trump is currently charged with nearly 100 felonies for things that don't really equate to a felony. How many felonies has Joe Biden been? I hate to have to do that, to say, look what they're doing over here, but they're not doing over there. That's valid to do that. It has to be. You have the moving party appears to be guilty of many, many felonies in the Ukraine and China, enriching themselves with money and peddling influence. It's highly illegal. They go beyond felony. They rise to the level of treason against one's country. And here they are blaming Trump for at the worst, organizing a rally that wanted to address election fraud in this country, maybe for the first time. And they got very close to the politicians, and it scared them. And now, because it was effective, it was an effective rally. Now they got to go to jail, all of them. They're predicting that Trump will be hit with 500 more indictments. It's so ridiculous. It's such a shitting all over the criminal justice system. So the weaponization of justice, free expression are these true? Is free expression under assault? Yes. Is the weaponization of justice happening? Yes. That's an assault on democracy. No doubt about it. The attack on the Supreme Court. I don't know about this. Is there really an attack on the Supreme Court? Yes, they want the left wants to create 15 new justice benches to diffuse the old ones, the 9 that are there. Add another 15, and we'll tilt the balance left. Manipulation, right? So that is an attack on the Supreme Court. You have other people saying that because of their stance on abortion and affirmative action, we should just ignore the Supreme Court. If you ignore the Supreme Court, then there's no longer a legal system. One of the 3 powers in America, it doesn't work anymore. Right? There's got to be a top. Right? The Supreme Court is the top of the food chain, and you want to not pay attention to it or discredit it. What else? The media democratic fusion. Right? The media democratic fusion. The media has become the Democratic Party. Is that true? Yes, it has. If one were to listen during the last few years of NBC, ABC, CBS, NPR, PBS, MSNBC, CNN, or read the New York Times or the Washington Post, Chicago Tribune, or the LA Times, then one would have to believe the following. If you watch these media, then you would believe, A, Donald Trump worked with the Russians to throw and win the 2016 election. So they're saying that that's the most profound one right now. For all of these years, the Democratic Party was saying that the elections were rigged and that the Russians stole it from them. Is that correct? Yeah, that's what they said for 4 and 5 years. Now, all of a sudden, right, the elections are free and fair and 100%. And because Donald Trump disagrees, he's a felon and he should go to jail because he planned the whole event. He knew all along that the elections were free and fair, and he wrongly told the American people that they were rigged. Right? We're all victims. We're victims of Trump. Trump told us that the elections are rigged. When they're free and fair, we found out. It almost doesn't make sense. When you break it down like that, it doesn't make sense. You have a party, preaching that that the elections are, we don't even know anymore. We don't know what they believe. They'll change their mind next week. They're saying Trump was mentally incapable of being president and should have been removed under the 25th Amendment. Remember that one? In 2020, his campaign once more worked with the Russians to create an exact replica of Hunter Biden's laptop, replete with dozens of lurid fake photos and hundreds of cleverly doctored emails to smear the Biden family. Trump is a fucking 4D chess playing super genius. He could convince the American people that the elections are not rigged while he's saying it full throat for hours, and what else? He was able to replicate everything that was in Hunter Biden's laptop. These are the things you would have to believe if you watch mainstream media, right? And all of it is, it's fiction at best. What else is there? The destruction of common law. We see that all around us. I just showed you videos of, smashing and breaking and burning. Here they are, This is going on in a place not far from you. Still, well, this is 2020. I was there. I saw it. That was 3 or 4 years ago. But there is still looting and rioting going on, and certainly attacks on the subway. As a result, downtowns are after dark no-go zones, as once great metropolises resemble combat theaters. Cities are becoming depopulated. It is becoming kind of sort of dangerous. Being a New Yorker my whole life, I would say that there are times when New York is dangerous, and there are clear ways to avoid it. Again, don't go into a pack of 200 black youth super predators listening to hip hop and dancing on the hoods of cars ready to attack somebody. Don't go near those people. When you see them, go the other way. Or at least take out your hammer and your camera and get a little glimpse of it. Or go undercover like I used to do. I used to fly right into those things. Right? I've followed many of the rallies, many of the protests, the George Floyd protests. I never got my ass kicked really completely, because especially in the beginning when they didn't know who I was. I would just walk in there with my camera, and I looked like one of them. I would just say, "Hey man, I'll take some pictures, motherfucker. How you doing, man? What's up, motherfucker?" You can hide in the crowd. That's not hard to do. But yeah, public violence, defecation, urinating, fornicating, injecting oneself is no longer an issue. Well, why don't we build some bathrooms for people? Right? I've always said that about the cities. Right? There's no way to go to the bathroom. And so when there's no way to go to the bathroom, people just go, which is the human fucking thing to do. I got to go. And you go. Why do you have to hold your waste? Build some bathrooms for people. Now, what happens in New York, if you do that, someone will move into the bathroom overnight. A homeless guy, you'll go in there to go to the bathroom, and you got to step over 3 homeless guys that are living in the bathroom because they got nowhere else to go. And that's one of the reasons why you don't have public amenities in places like New York City. But it is workable. Make it where it's not completely indoors, right? Like they have in Holland. They have the circular pissery, right? Right in the street. You walk into this kind of circular enclosure, and people see your feet. They can see what's coming down from you, and it lands in a hole, and there you relieve yourself. No one's going to go and sleep in there. So flash mobs taking over streets. What else? Erosion of the military. I don't know if I agree with that one. I think an erosion of the military is probably necessary. Less military. Sex. There's only 2. Heterosexual marriage, male, female. The nuclear family are all to be suspect. There are 3 sexes, or perhaps still more. Right? Are there? So here we go. Back in the day when I was a kid, gay, straight, those were the only terms people had, and people were trying to come to terms with their own identity. But now they're okay with gender affirming treatment, inject somebody with all kinds of shit, and turn them from male to female or vice versa. Right? And to dispute any of these things is to call it child abuse at best is to be vilified. Everything is about race. Everything about race. Racial inequality and lack of parity are due to, quote, whiteness. Whiteness. It's because you're white. And, reparations, give blacks free money because they've been so marginalized over the years. Right? It really is epic right now. It's brewing over, you know. Where are blacks in society not able to get ahead? They're able to apply to any college, any job. They're allowed to go anywhere in the free world. Where is the ball and chain? The ball and chain is in one's mind, right? In the mind of the radicalized ape. Debt is a construct. I think I agree with this. This is one of the things I might agree with. Modern monetary theory proved that annual deficits in national debt are just a state accounting challenge. We don't really have debt. Debt is a construct. Right? I like that it this is an interesting line. Printing more money is an act that properly diminishes the value of existing capital, improperly hoarded by parasitic profiteers. That's a funny way of saying, I know you got $1 million, but we're going to print 10 million and fuck you, man. Your million isn't worth shit anymore because we just printed 10 million. That's an interesting way to look at it, but it doesn't remove the fact that you're accruing debt. Someone is paying for that. Somebody is paying for that. You're not just printing money. You're printing debt. Or are they? Maybe they're not even printing debt. They're just printing money. I don't know. But clearly a different way of looking at money is now here rather than the old survival of the fittest stuff. I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point, and so I'm almost done. Universities, it is now hearsay that universities should be placed or places of disinterested inquiry and inductive investigation. Right? They are not. Institutions now, schools are institutions of conformity, learn how to toe the party line. Free thinking is frowned upon. Is considered, counterintuitive thinking. So fascinating subject. Let's look at the market. Are you going up? And we're going down further. Deep dive. Time to get out, I guess. I don't know, man. That's weighing on me because I'm stuck. I'm stuck in this motherfucker. I was way up and now I'm way down. So thank you everybody for joining me. Mark Sconti reporting. Mad Cow Mark, Vinny D. Martini. Blue Jay Outpost, Weevil Girl, Snake. Troubled times. Are they troubled times? Is democracy under assault, or is it just business as usual? Wake up, smell the coffee, and stop getting dragged down by the noise. Right? There's a lot of noise out there. Right? Don't worry that young people are breaking and smashing things. It's just them, expressing themselves. It doesn't matter. None of it matters anymore. So anyway, turn this guy back on. Fucking come on, man. Give it to me. I'll see you guys, man. Try to get my energy level up today. Feeling a little down. I'm feeling down. It's a nice bass, Gibson bass. I like that.